Netflix in 2026 is not playing around. This year, the platform dropped some of the most violent, intense, and jaw-dropping action movies we have seen in a long time. Fathers turning into killing machines, cops crossing every line imaginable, soldiers fighting things that should not exist. So today, I'm giving you the complete list of 10 brutal action movies on Netflix 2026 that you need to watch right now. And before we get into it, if you want the best movie recommendations every single day, hit that like button right now and subscribe. This is the only list you will ever need. Now, I am warning you, the further we go down this list, the darker and more intense it gets. So stay till the end, because number 1 is the movie that is already making people lose sleep.
Kicking off our list at number 10, and this one comes straight from South Korea. So imagine this. You are a former special ops agent, one of the most dangerous men alive, but now you are just a house husband, cooking, cleaning, living a quiet life. That is exactly where Kang-moo is when our story begins. His wife, Mi-seon, has no idea about his violent past. She is a sharp, tough detective who thinks she married a regular guy. But when the president personally calls Kang-moo back into action, that quiet life is over. This time, a shadowy criminal organization is smuggling Korea's most valuable national treasures out of the country, and only Kang-moo and Mi-seon together can stop them. The action is slick. Mission Cross 2 is coming to Netflix in Q3 2026, and it is already one of the most anticipated Korean action films of the year.
Now at number 9. The tone shifts completely. This one hits differently. Meet Zach, a man who spent years doing the impossible, leaving behind a life of organized crime to build something peaceful for his family. Just a normal life. But one afternoon, on a regular drive, a road rage incident changes everything. A group of gangsters open fire, and Zach's young son ends up in a hospital bed, fighting for his life. Zach waits for justice. He goes to the police, but the system fails him. And that is the moment something inside Zach breaks completely. He makes a decision to go back to everything he left behind, back to the darkness, back to the violence. And this time, there are no rules.
I am not gonna have him die before he gets to take his break.
Coming in hot at number 8, and this one has one of the craziest premises of the year. A Category 5 hurricane is tearing through a coastal town. Buildings are collapsing, streets are flooding, people are running for their lives. And then, as if the storm was not enough, the floodwaters bring something else with them. A massive, deadly great white shark. Now a group of survivors are trapped. On one side, a raging storm that is destroying everything in its path. On the other side, one of the ocean's most ruthless predators, hunting them through the flooded streets. There is nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Every decision could be their last. Within just 48 hours of dropping on Netflix, it became one of the most watched movies in the world.
Pushing his aim.
We make a good team, don't we, eh?
Number 7 will genuinely make you uncomfortable, and that is exactly why you need to watch it. Sasha is a woman who just wants peace. After going through personal tragedy, she heads deep into the Australian wilderness, alone, far from the world, trying to heal. But someone has found her, and that someone is hunting her. Taron Egerton plays the hunter, and he is absolutely terrifying in this role. Cold, calculated, and completely unpredictable. What follows is a brutal survival game across some of the most dangerous wilderness on the planet. Every tree, every shadow, every sound becomes a potential threat. Charlize Theron plays Sasha, and she is not just running, she is fighting back. The movie was directed by Baltasar Kormákur, who is known for making action feel brutally real.
Sliding into number 6, and a legend has returned. If you know Peaky Blinders, you already know what Tommy Shelby is capable of. But this time, the stakes are completely different. The Immortal Man is set during World War II, in a Birmingham that has been torn apart by bombs, fear, and chaos. Tommy has been living in self-imposed exile, trying to stay away from the violence that defined his life. But he is pulled back. His family is in danger. A fascist threat connected to the Nazis is closing in, and his own estranged son has taken control of the gang and is leading it straight toward disaster. Tommy must come back. And when Tommy Shelby comes back, people suffer.
What the hell is that? And it won't stop.
Number 5 is where Netflix goes full insane mode, and nobody was ready for this. Alan Ritchson, the man who made the world believe someone could actually be Reacher, is back. And this time, he is not fighting criminals. He is fighting something far worse. War Machine follows an elite squad of U.S. Army Rangers going through the final and most brutal stage of their selection program. These are the toughest soldiers alive, being pushed to the absolute limit of human endurance. And then everything changes. In the middle of their mission, something drops into the battlefield. Something massive. Something that is not human. A killing machine from another world. And it has no mercy. Suddenly the mission is not about passing selection anymore. It is about surviving the night.
Bitch! I'm breaking left! I got the roof! You want to steal this ship? You're not giving orders!
The movie at number 4 broke Netflix, and the world could not stop talking about it. 2 of Hollywood's biggest names, and they are playing 2 Miami cops who live in the gray area between law and crime. They work the drug game, busting dealers, seizing cash, walking the line every single day. Then one night, a tip sends them to a stash house. They expect to find maybe $300,000 in drug money. What they actually find is $20 million. $20 million sitting in a room. And right there, in that moment, everything changes. The question stops being, what do we do with this money? And starts being, can we trust each other? Loyalties shatter, friendships break, and the line between being a cop and being a criminal disappears completely.
Number 3 is darker and more brutal than anything you would expect, and Ben Affleck directed it himself. Milo Bradford is a Los Angeles mayoral candidate. His life is politics, power, and public image. But one phone call destroys all of it. His son has been kidnapped, and the ransom demand is enormous. Money Milo does not have because every cent went into his campaign. He has only a few hours, and the people holding his son are not playing game. What follows is Milo's desperate, brutal spiral into a world he never knew existed. Corruption, deception, and impossible choices that no parent should ever have to make. Coming to Netflix in 2026, Animals is already being called one of the most intense and emotionally brutal crime thrillers of the year.
At number 2, 2 of the greatest actors alive share one screen, and the result is pure cinema. Denzel Washington, Robert Pattinson, one movie. That sentence alone should be enough. But here comes the flood goes even further. The story follows 3 people, a bank guard, a bank teller, and a master thief, locked in a deadly game of cons, double crosses, and brutal survival. Nobody is who they say they are. Every alliance is temporary. Every move has a counter move. And when Denzel's intensity collides with Pattinson's completely unpredictable energy, the tension is almost unbearable. Here Comes the Flood is coming to Netflix in 2026, and it is already one of the most talked about films of the entire year.
And finally, the one you have been waiting for. Number 1, produced by Anthony and Joe Russo, the men behind Avengers Endgame, starring Robert De Niro, and based on one of the most terrifying best-selling crime novels ever written. The story begins with a father whose world collapses overnight. His young son is abducted without a trace. Desperate and out of options, he reaches out to the one person he has been avoiding for years, his estranged father, a retired detective who worked the most disturbing cases of his career. Together they start digging, and what they find is worse than anything they imagine. The disappearance of this boy is connected to a serial killer so terrifying that his case was buried and forgotten decades ago, a killer the police call the Whisper Man, and he has never stopped. The Whisper Man is coming to Netflix in summer 2026.
And that is your complete list. Now I want to hear from you. Which movie on this list are you watching first? Drop it in the comments right now. And if you are new here, subscribe, because this is the channel that finds the movies actually worth your time. See you in the next one.